Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. All commissioners are present. Announcements are on the agendas. Extra copies are at the back of the room. First item up is for comments for items not on the agenda. It's your chance. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add my comments. It's kind of echo comments before we went on the record. That here we are at a point of, once again, being prepared to adopt a budget. And there is no community, no public, no participants in the room that wish to express concerns or add their thoughts. And I continue to say, my 15th year, this is so frustrating that folks just aren't even curious. So I just want to put that on the record. So, and go ahead, throw shade at me after you see this or hear it. But it's historical for us. This is how things go. We work really hard, all of us, to make sure that this budget is nice, tight, and clean. But it would certainly be nice to have folks, a few, show up and say they have questions before we actually enact it. So that's my comments. All right. Hearing nothing else, I will move on to the approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes from June 18th.
Also move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Approval of consent calendar.
I'll move approval.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Resolution number 25-10, adoption of the fiscal year 25-26 budget. Mr. Hanson.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, inside your packet is the recommendation and the adoption for the annual fiscal year 25-26 budget. Resolution 25-10 includes all the appropriations included in every fund and every department. It also includes the tax rates at which you will tax the general public. There is the 1.716 permanent tax rate that the county has. There's also the 49.5 cent public safety levy included in that resolution. There's also a detailed sheets of modifications from what we did at the approval back in May. There's a number of them this year, partly because of information we received between the approval in May and the adoption in June. There's very little change in the general fund, with the exception of adding $125,000 transfer to the fair fund. As you're aware, our levy for the fair was not successful. As a result, I built two budgets. We approved the one with the levy, but there was a budget that was without the levy, and this is incorporating that budget into our formal adoption process. You have other modifications. Most of them include modifications to the beginning fund balances for those funds. As we near the end of this fiscal year, we were able to look at those funds and their beginning fund balances and adjust them appropriately. Public Works has a large reduction. If you remember when we approved the budget from what we tentatively approved, I added a chunk of money due or not due because of the transportation proposal that's before the legislature. Didn't know if that was going to occur or not. We received information that there was a lesser chance that it would occur. So I reduced the full amount of that down to a smaller amount. Either way, it will not affect the operations for the upcoming year for Public Works. If we get the whole amount, it will just become beginning fund balance for next year, or actually we if we find a project that we can do during the fiscal year, we can just draw from contingency in that the Public Works Fund has a adequate contingency to address almost any situation that comes up in the county this upcoming fiscal year. Other modifications, we had a reduction in coordinating housing. Monies in there were appropriated two different ways when we created this fund. One was a chunk of burn money for the new annex building. We utilized that money to pay for that. We also had a pilot project for housing. That money remains and will be used for the upcoming year. Behavioral health adjusted their beginning fund balance by about $3 million. So we increased their appropriation authority. All that money went into contingency. It didn't go into adding staff or operations from what was proposed and approved. And then obviously the fair budget that was approved got drastically reduced, which included the $125,000 transfer from the general fund. Other than that, there were just small tweaks to the budget. If you want more detail, we can go into every one of those tweaks, but you have every page that is being modified and will be in the adopted budget. So I strongly urge you to adopt and approve the resolution 2510, which is the resolution that adopts the budget. After that, we will put the budget books together. We will provide the assessor with an LB 50 and she'll be happy and we'll be able to levy taxes.
So I move to approve resolution 2510, adoption of the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
Just want to express my gratitude to our budget officer who let the budget committee know this was the most difficult budget of his long tenure. So I want to thank our county accountant and her staff for all the preparation of the financial documents. There are a lot of moving parts with the county budget, federal funds to state funds. General fund is one of those funds, and just appreciate the careful scrutiny of all of those moving parts so that we can maintain a healthy budget. Obviously, as was stated in the budget committee, I'm just sort of restating this because nobody's here. Our costs are outpacing our revenues a bit, and we need to tighten our belts. That goes without saying. And we'll need to further engage the public about future fair operations and kind of expectations for public safety services going forward as we reconsider renewal of our levy. So just want to foreshadow that. And I feel very secure in the fact that my colleagues and the long-serving staff here will equip us with the best information we have to make the right decisions. So I'll get off myself.
Good job.
Additionally, again, to emphasize to the public, as Mr. Hansen has stated, in effect, we're adopting a budget with a legislature still in session, with the largest potential tax increase in Oregon's history, still looming in a dark room. And this isn't the only one that will have impacts on this adopted budget. And we have no way of knowing at this point what they're going to do and how it's going to impact us. So we're adopting something that we're hoping that the legislature continues or will act in good faith and treat us like real partners, which is rare. But I just want to make certain the public knows that this is our best guess at what is normal and what should be status quo. And it could all get tipped over and we could still have a lot of work to do going forward at modifying budgets based on potential revenues or unfunded mandates. So that's my editorial piece.
Yes, thank you. I was going to mention that after discussion. Any biennial budget and legislative period, it's an unknown budget. A budget is a planning document, and this is our best plan and our roadmap moving forward. but depending on certain things that the legislature might do at the end of session, we may have some detours in our roadmap that we don't know right now. So it'll be interesting the first month or so to see how everything played out. A lot of those adjustments don't occur right away. They occur in January or the following year, but it will lead us to different paths. I guarantee it. Trying to guess what the legislature is going to do at the last minute or what we will have to do for the state is impossible to predict. So I'm glad Commissioner Pope pointed that out.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, passed unanimously. Thank you. New job specification, Mr. Hawkins.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind if I have a couple of items on this agenda. If I could start with the second one, which is the reclassification of an employee. Is that all right? We have our assessor here and I want to cover this for her. So we are requesting and I'm recommending the reclassification of Becky Zwimke, who is in our assessor's office. She's currently an appraiser 2. We're requesting that she be reclassified to an appraiser 3. We recently had a resignation of our appraiser 3 position, individual in that position. So Valerie Patuan has requested that Becky be reclassified into the 3 position. She's already taken on those duties, which the difference is, I guess, that we should cover is that she's actually taking on commercial appraisals as well as the data analyst position, we'll say. So if you do approve of this, it would be effective July 1st. We would be looking at a fiscal impact of approximately $5,500, including PERS contributions.
Good.
Great, thank you. So on to the next one, which is actually an overhaul within our human resources department. We're requesting that a new job specification for an human resources generalist, along with the accompanying wage, be adopted. Along with that, I am requesting that both Alicia Fogerson and Wendy Hamilton be reclassified into the generalist position. The background here is that Health Services has requested that Human Resources take on a much larger role within their organization. With that, we needed to broaden the duties of HR as far as for the generalist position, which is why we have a new job specification. What we'll be looking at doing is actually Health Services will be taking on the full budgetary cost of Alicia's position. Alicia will be the new HR generalist, if this is approved, assigned to be actually housed much of the time over in the Academy building. Probably 4 out of 5 days a week. We don't want to lose her. She's still being supervised by me. I am heavily involved in all of this, but it makes sense with the growth that we've seen within Health Services. With that, that means that Wendy will be taking on all of those duties for the remainder of our county departments. So we are requesting that this also be effective July 1st with the adoption of the new HR generalist position and the reclassification of Alicia and Wendy. The fiscal impact to the Human Resources Department actually is going to end up being a fiscal savings because we will be having one department, Health Services, Behavioral Health specifically, as we just heard, ended up with $3 million more. So their budget can take on Alicia quite easily. And then I will be looking to hire an office specialist that would be housed downstairs in Human Resources as well. But our budget currently we already have those positions, so it'll be a savings for us.
Savings even with the office specialist?
A savings with Alicia going over.
Yep.
As well as bringing on an office specialist and Wendy still within the HR, specifically HR budget.
Well, it makes sense for our largest department to have a dedicated HR professional.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been working on it, but we finally have settled on where we can land and what HR can still do for them over there. Great, thank you.
Okay, do we have a need for an executive session?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, we are adjourned.